Welcome to Shadowed Stoics, where we dive deep into the unexplored corners of Stoic philosophy. Join us as we unravel timeless wisdom through the lens of today's challenges, illuminating the path to inner strength and serenity. Subscribe and journey with us into the shadows of the Stoic mind.
Welcome to our deep dive into the shadowy side of Stoic philosophy. Today we're exploring how certain Stoic traits, when twisted, can become powerful tools for manipulation. While we do not endorse using these strategies unethically, understanding them can provide insights into human behavior and help us guard against manipulation in our lives. Let's unveil these 10 dark traits.
1. Absolute rationality. Absolute rationality in manipulation involves using pure logic and reason to dissect and exploit the emotional and psychological vulnerabilities of others. Manipulators employing this trait assess individuals not as people, but as puzzles to be solved, calculating the best ways to influence or control them based on their fears, desires, and weaknesses. For instance, a manipulator might notice someone's insecurity about professional competence. They could exploit this by alternating praise and subtle criticisms, keeping the target off balance and more susceptible to seeking approval, which the manipulator provides conditionally. This calculated control can extend to influencing decisions that benefit the manipulator, from workplace dynamics to personal relationships. Training in behavioral psychology, observation skills, and strategic communication can enhance one's ability to use absolute rationality for manipulation. The key is to remain emotionally detached, viewing interactions as strategic games rather than human engagements, focusing solely on the desired outcome. 2. Emotional suppression. Emotional suppression is about concealing one's feelings to create a veneer of impenetrability, making it difficult for others to predict or manipulate one's actions in return. For the manipulator, this stoic facade serves as a defense mechanism and a tool for control, as it prevents others from gaining psychological leverage. In practice, manipulators might show little to no reaction in situations where others would typically show joy, sadness, or anger. This unyielding exterior can be unnerving to others, shifting the emotional burden onto them, making them more vulnerable to manipulation. The manipulator can exploit this imbalance by guiding others through their reactions, often leading them to make decisions that they might not have made under balanced emotional circumstances. To cultivate emotional suppression, one might practice mindfulness and other meditative techniques that promote detachment and self-control. These practices help in maintaining a calm demeanor, even in emotionally charged situations, providing the manipulator with a strategic advantage. 3. Exploiting discomfort. Exploiting discomfort involves creating or exacerbating uncomfortable situations that leave others feeling anxious, uncertain, or insecure. Manipulators use this disorientation to impose their will or solutions, appearing as saviors or authorities, thus gaining control over the situation and the individuals involved. This could be as simple as setting the terms of a negotiation in an unfamiliar and intimidating setting for the other party, thereby gaining an upper hand. Or it might involve more complex psychological games, such as gaslighting, where the manipulator causes the target to question their sanity or perception of reality, making them more dependent on the manipulator for truth and guidance. Training in psychological warfare techniques, such as learning to identify and amplify others' fears or discomforts, is essential for this trait. Additionally, understanding human behavior and stress responses can enable a manipulator to create and control uncomfortable scenarios effectively. 4. Strategic withdrawal. Strategic withdrawal is the deliberate absence or withholding of something desired by others to create dependency. Manipulators use this technique to control others by becoming the sole source of what they temporarily withhold, whether it's emotional validation, information, or resources. For example, in a work environment, a manipulator might withhold praise or necessary information from a colleague, making them feel undervalued or ignorant. Then, by selectively offering praise or sharing information, the manipulator can become a critical figure in the colleague's work life, manipulating them into dependency and loyalty. This tactic requires a deep understanding of what drives individuals, what they value most, and the strategic ability to withhold it effectively. Skills in timing and gauging individual reactions are critical to executing strategic withdrawal successfully. 5. Utilitarian calculation. Utilitarian calculation, when used for manipulation, is characterized by making decisions that maximize personal benefit, often at the expense of others' well-being. This manipulation tactic leverages a distorted version of utilitarian ethics, where the manipulator rationalizes actions based on outcomes that are advantageous for them, while neglecting or minimizing the negative impacts on others. In practice, a manipulator employing this trait might orchestrate scenarios where their actions, though harmful to others, are justified under the guise of the greater good. For example, in a corporate setting, they might advocate for cost-cutting measures that lead to layoffs, arguing that these steps are necessary for the company's survival and future profitability, while in reality they may be securing their own position or financial incentives. This approach requires a cunning understanding of ethical principles and the ability to twist them to serve personal ends. Manipulators adept in utilitarian calculation are skilled at presenting their actions as altruistic or necessary, even when they are self-serving. They frame their decisions within a narrative of necessity, making it difficult for others to challenge them without appearing to oppose the greater good. To develop and refine utilitarian calculation for manipulation, one should study ethical theories and learn how to apply them in ways that can be publicly defended or rationalized. Engaging in debates and discussions on ethics can also sharpen one's ability to argue convincingly, making their manipulative actions seem justified. Additionally, practicing the art of persuasion and framing techniques can enhance the manipulator's ability to present self-serving actions as beneficial for the group or organization. In essence, utilitarian calculation for manipulation is about cloaking self-interest in the mantle of communal benefit. It involves a strategic play of ethical justification, persuasive communication, and selective transparency to exploit the moral sensibilities of others for personal gain. This dark trait, while effective, underscores the importance of vigilance and ethical rigor in evaluating the motives behind actions that are purportedly for the common good.
6. Opportunistic realism.
Opportunistic realism is about recognizing and exploiting any situation to one's advantage, regardless of the conventional moral or ethical considerations. Manipulators using this trait adeptly adapt to circumstances, twisting scenarios to favor their objectives, often at the expense of others. This trait involves a keen ability to assess environments and people quickly and accurately, identifying vulnerabilities and capitalizing on them. For instance, during a company crisis, an opportunistic manipulator might position themselves as indispensable to solving the crisis, thereby securing a promotion or other benefits. They might also spread rumors or half-truths to destabilize rivals or to shift public perception, enhancing their power or diverting attention from their actions. Developing opportunistic realism requires an analytical mind and a flexible approach to morality. It also demands a comprehensive understanding of human psychology and social dynamics to manipulate situations effectively. Practicing scenario analysis and strategic planning can sharpen these skills, making one adept at navigating and exploiting complex situations. 7. Pessimistic manipulation. Pessimistic manipulation uses the Stoic trait of expecting the worst to instill fear, uncertainty, and dependency in others. Manipulators employing this tactic often portray dire scenarios to make others feel helpless, positioning themselves as the only source of solution or relief. For example, a manipulator might exaggerate the consequences of a business failing to adopt a particular strategy, which they can provide, or highlight the severe implications of not following their advice in personal matters. By amplifying fears and presenting themselves as the necessary hero, they manipulate others into dependent and submissive positions. To master pessimistic manipulation, one must be skilled in rhetorical techniques and have a deep understanding of the fears and anxieties common to their target audience. Regular practice in crafting compelling narratives that emphasize risk and danger can be effective, as can studying psychological techniques to amplify fear and reliance. 8. Ruthless competition. Ruthless competition involves seeing every interaction as a battlefield where only one can emerge victorious. Manipulators with this trait engage in relentless competition, using every available tool and tactic to ensure they are not just participants but dominators in every scenario. In practice, this could manifest as undermining colleagues to secure a job promotion, using aggressive negotiation tactics to outmaneuver business competitors, or even sabotaging others' efforts discreetly to remain in a favorable position. The key is a zero-sum mindset. For them to win, someone else must lose. Cultivating ruthless competition requires a competitive spirit and a thick skin, as this trait often leads to conflict and opposition. Training in competitive environments, engaging in strategic games like chess or poker, and studying military tactics can enhance one's ability to think several steps ahead of competitors. 9. Focused exploitation. Focused exploitation involves the intense and deliberate targeting of an individual's vulnerabilities for personal gain. Manipulators practicing this trait spend significant time and resources learning about their target's weaknesses, desires, and fears to exploit them effectively. This could involve a manipulator in a leadership position, exploiting an employee's ambition by promising promotions in exchange for loyalty or unethical favors. Or in personal relationships, using intimate knowledge about a partner's insecurities to maintain control and dominance in the relationship. Developing focused exploitation requires exceptional observational skills, empathy to understand others' feelings, not to share them, and strategic planning. Techniques include deep listening, psychological profiling, and maintaining detailed records of interactions and personal details, which can be referenced to exploit vulnerabilities when opportune. 10. Delaying gratification for gain. Mastery of delayed gratification for gain is about playing the long game, building trust and dependency over time, only to exploit it when the stakes are highest. Manipulators using this trait appear patient and trustworthy, often waiting years to reveal their true intentions once they are deeply embedded in positions of trust or power. In business, this might involve a long-term strategy where a manipulator gradually takes on critical roles and responsibilities, becoming seemingly indispensable before manipulating business decisions for personal gain. In personal scenarios, it could involve slowly gaining a partner's trust and affection before using that emotional investment to manipulate them into compliance or financial exploitation. This trait requires an immense amount of patience, strategic foresight, and emotional control. Techniques for cultivating it include setting long-term goals, practicing patience in everyday situations, and methodically building relationships with future utility in mind.
Thank you for exploring the depths of Stoicism with us today. If you found value in our journey, please like, share, and subscribe to continue uncovering the wisdom of the Stoics.